So, first of all, Hashem, here I'm sitting in Melbourne, in my parents' home, and thank God you can see Mamish. The nurses were just amazed, like it's a different person my mother became. The children came, and she's usually no energy and listless, and so Baruch Hashem, helped this continue, and the great schus that we have to being able to be here and be with our parents. And Be'ezer Hashem, we should continue hearing good news from them and from all Jews and from all of our respective families. Amen. During these very, very trying times. Tonight, your time, 8 o'clock, it's my weekly address, the weekly drasha. I'm going to talk about the tragedy in Miran and about our cousin that perished. I asked my father to say a few words, but he wouldn't. He wouldn't speak. He said he has no right to speak about such tragedy. Your father could speak, and they have. He tells me, Moishe, you can speak, and that's just professional. That's what they pay you to do. So you have to say something. I can't. I've had he says, a blessed fat life. I don't know of tragedy like this. It can maybe, whatever. But that's, it's not entirely true that he didn't, of course, but he doesn't feel qualified to speak to Eden in the face of such a calamity, which is itself a humbling lesson in its own right. All right, friends. So in the remaining moments, so we all know that this week's Parsha Behar-Bechukotai, it's a double Parsha, and the fifth Aliyah is the Teichacha, the terrible curses. And I'm reminded as a child, the curses that will befall the Jewish people, if we fail to observe mitzvahs and abrogate the covenant and so on. I just remember as a child here in Melbourne, it comes back to me so vividly. There was a big chassid, his name was Betzalel Vlashansky. He was an extraordinary man. He was a sheikhet in Sydney, and then he was Melbourne. And the final years he was back in Sydney. He was a big founder of the community, and he was a Balkoira. He didn't read the Torah year round, but the Teichacha, nobody wanted to read it, whatever. But he read the Teichacha every year. We were children to listen to the Betzalel read the Teichacha. We didn't know the translation of the words as kids, but we knew some translation. We just knew this was terrible curses. And we didn't understand the depth of anything. But the way that Betzalel read, he was on fire, deeply buried in his talus over the Sefer Torah, on fire. I can't put into words the way the Betzalel read the Sefer Torah, read the Teichacha. Now the question, my dear friends, about the Teichacha is this. It's part of the Torah. And if you look at the translation, it's horrific. Describing terrible famine, hunger, suffering, God forbid, that will befall the Jewish people. So the question is, the Torah is eternal. The 5 books of the Torah are forever. The writings of the prophets and Tehillim, after Mashiach comes, we won't need it. Save me and help me, and that's Tehillim. Everything will be in abundance. The prophets, who's mainly the whole story there, is the rebuke of the people to be loyal to Hashem and the ups and downs of our history. We've gone beyond that. So they are no longer have a relevant message in the perfect world. But the question is, but the 5 books of the Torah, Chamisha Chumsha Torah, are eternal forever. What are these words going to mean then? What do these curses mean? So the emes is, and this is maybe the deepest, most difficult teaching in all of Torah, in all of Chassidus, but it's the most difficult to understand. But on the other hand, without what I'm going to share with you, without this teaching, then There's nothing. What am I saying? The emes is that these words, at their deepest level, are blessings. And then when Mashiach will come, we will appreciate it and understand it as such. And there are many verses here that Rebbe explains in his Sichos and Alter Rebbe in the Torah, explaining the deeper meaning. I'll just give you one insight. One of the curses is that 10 women will bake their bread simultaneously in one oven, 10 families, and it won't fill the oven. Still won't be full. Such a scarcity that 10 families, the bread to feed all of them will not fill even one oven. That's how the famine will begin. Explains the Alter Rebbe in the Torah, the founder of Chabad, the Alter Rebbe, the positive, deep, essential, and that's the eternal meaning. The 10 women, friends, the soul is called the wife of Hashem, right? Our relationship with Hashem is a marriage. He's the husband, the groom, we are the wife. The 10 women refer to the 10 faculties of the soul. 3 intellectual faculties we all have, and 7 emotions, 7 times around, facing the heart, the 7 emotions, and the brain, there's 3 faculties of the brain, Chochmah, Bin, and Das, 10 in total. So the meaning here is that when Mashiach will come, we will be on fire with this love of Hashem. That's the 10 breads in the oven, and it will not fill the oven, but the longing, the love will not be satiated, as if to say, I have received it and now I'm satisfied. Whatever we receive will create a longing for more and greater and ever deepening, never plateauing, never reaching there's a word for it, but you understand what I'm saying? A level of satisfaction and maximizing and plateauing, I think the term is. There'll be this endless, ever deepening, rapturous love, fiery, passionate love for Hashem. The 10 will bake their bread in one oven, Tanur Echad, the oven of oneness. Here's the oven of the most virtuous end. And this is a very, very deep idea, that all of these curses, in the end, what it means is this. Let me tell you what Mashiach is not. And I'm going to show you something now that also happened on the Shavuos. This was a Shavuos Fabrengen in 1956 or 55. What happened was that there was in Chabad. This is 1955, just the very beginnings. So there were young students davening Ma'ariv. Who are these kids? These were children. The previous Rebbe, I think, had already begun this. A trade school. A trade school with children. Rabbi Grossman's whole model is based on this. Rabbi Grossman of Migdala Emek. A trade school for children. They come from poor families and orphans, whatever. So they lived there. They learned half a day or most of the day, and the rest of the day they were taught a trade, plumbing, electrician, carpentry, etc. And so they were davening Ma'ariv with their teacher, Zilberstrom. He's an uncle of the Binyamin Zilberstrom that comes every year to me. And they were murdered by Fedayin. Murdered. They came to them out and shot, all of them killed. I mean, it's come just right after the Holocaust, such a tragedy in Israel. I mean, so the Rebbe said then, the Fabrengen like this. There are those that say they want to justify Hashem. The Kroyevi HaKodesh, the verse says God is sanctified with those that are closest to him. This is said when Aaron's 2 sons died on what should have been the happiest day of history, the day God's revealed in the sanctuary. Aaron's children die, and Moishe told him these words, B'Kroyevi HaKodesh. So he says, that's not an answer, because we don't understand that either. Why is Hashem sanctified? Because of the death of those that are near to him. So to answer one inexplicable thing with another inexplicable thing, he says, is Tanchum Shel Hevel. It's a consolation of emptiness. And that's why Aaron, Moshe said what he said, but Aaron, Vayidim Aaron, he was just silent. The question we have is Eibishter, he said. Your whole purpose is this world. Your whole purpose is the neshama should come down to the world and make this world a home for you through the physical performance of mitzvahs. You took them back. They're in a wonderful place in heaven, for sure. But the real question is on you. But you want them here. Is this not the whole purpose that you told us? There's no answer that upset to this. We don't want an answer. What we do want is the neshama comes back into the world and the body perfected and is able to serve Hashem and do mitzvahs and be part of making this world a home for God, which happens as a preparation for Mashiach's coming, and it goes even further after. That's the only answer. But more than that, when Mashiach will come, I'll tell you what it's not. It's not going to be this. You heard it from me now. We're going to get explanations why they were suffering. That's the betrayal of Jewish suffering. You give me an explanation, but they meanwhile were suffering in pain. They didn't know this explanation. The real question we have, this is the real pain, is not why, but where were you? Why not why Holocaust? Where were you? Where were you? The abandonment. There's no greater pain, friend, than being abandoned and alone. The greatest pain in the world is to be alone. And that's the real pain. It seems to us that you abandoned us. So what's the Eibishter's answer? What's Mashiach? And I can't explain this rationally. I'm just saying what it is. He will retroactively in the past, redeem it and make us see the past. I was with you and I was in pain with you. And now you're going to experience that pain as the greatest love. It's beyond rationale. I can't explain what this means. The only best example I can give, which is a little insight. If you hug someone, you love them, you hug them really tight. If you hug them really tight, you can hurt them and crush them. But if we're strong and can take it, and we melt into it, then it's the most edifying thing. So Hashem will retroactively show us that, which we can't understand. I'm just saying these words. There's no explanation. That all of this, we thought I abandoned you, I was holding you so tight it crushed, and it hurt me and it hurt you. Again, why? There's no why beyond the why. But the comfort will be that we will then re-experience it as I was with you in the deepest way. In your pain, and now in the love that you'll feel in this. And will we experience that? Here in this world. Not there, here. The soul's backed and the body's perfectly healed. So these words of the Teichacha, the same words are going to remain. The same words, the Torah doesn't change. But we will then re-understand them with the depth of them. What they always meant all along at the depth is my greatest love for you. And the greater the curse, on simple translation is, the greater is the blessing in it, inherently, the positive blessing. I mean, just another example of this, the word Rasha, which is in the Torah. In the 5 books, the word wicked. It's not going to be wickedness then. So what word am I going to mean then? So the word Rasha actually means exceeding. That's what it means. It means exceeding. Simple meaning now, for us now, beyond what? Beyond what's right and proper, on the outside. But its deeper meaning, exceedingly good, beyond the parameters of even beauty. Just to give you another illustration of how a word in Torah and its depth, layers and layers and layers. So all of these words and all of these curses and all of Jewish suffering will be revisited and healed retroactively, not going forward, retroactively. In the deepest way, as only Hashem can do, and I can't explain what it's going to look like and how this can be, and what does this mean. That's the point. It's totally beyond. But this is true Mashiach. It's all you, because my dear friends, the end of the day, he must take responsibility. With all of our free choice, it's all over. But who made me with it? Did I ask to be born? Did I ask to be born with the Yetzer Hara? end of the day, the Eibishter will show us that it's all Him, Enod Mulvadai, and we partner with Him, and we hasten that way, that day, by surrendering our own sense of separation to this truth that it's all Him, and living a life that is His will. And the more we live a life that is expressive of Hashem and His will, the quicker we hasten that day when that's going to be the reality for everyone. All is good and all is Him. We start to live this now. Even though often we can't understand how this could be. Where are you? Where's the good? Where's the blessing? But we dig very deep. As I can't say this, but as the parents we're hearing from these they are calling on Klal Yisrael to deepen faith and connection and unity. It's mind-boggling. So it's all Him. At the same time, we got to do what we have to do. And what is that? To surrender to this truth by choice. Choice to live humble lives that are expressive, that every moment, every breath that I take is a blessing, is a bracha, my children, my breath, the bread on my table. Lucy, you were telling me, maybe you want to share with everybody, it's like there's a grassroots. Share that, we got a couple of minutes. This grassroots, tell us about it. It's an amazing, amazing thing.
Yeah, that it started on a private chat between my sister, a few other girls in Israel, just taking on Kabbalah, Sachlotis, on things from women.
Good resolutions.
Good resolutions. And they got exposed to a few of their trainers and a few other people, and it made it on some social media platform. I don't know whether it's Facebook, Instagram, whatever. And it expanded and expanded in Israel. I think there's already thousands of people now, and everybody's posting from Shabbos candles, tefillin, kashrus, you name it, all kinds of stuff, achlutas, that resolutions that people are taking upon themselves, and they're posting it publicly. It's growing by the minute in Israel and around the world right now. It's a big Kiddush Hashem.
It's wonderful. If you could, again, if there's any link, they made some sort of website or something.
Yeah.
Huh?
They're putting together, right now it's on a Google spreadsheet only, but they're working on putting together a nice form on a nice presentation. It should look prettier. It happened yesterday. It's really fresh.
How wonderful are the Jewish people, how your children react to tragedy, this incomprehensible tragedy. Look at the reaction. Surely this itself is enough that Hashem should say, you've come through with flying colors, and now it's time to remove the suffering and transform it, the tears of pain into tears of joy. It's got to be really soon. It's got to be, and this is not just observant people. You're saying this is
no, I'm saying the majority not. It's not observant people.
Wow. Okay, so we all got to do our part. As we said for the story before, seize the moment. The moment is now. Every moment is the moment. So Hashem bless everybody. Bless you all. Bless all of us with simcha, revealed good, with naches, with good health, with parnasa, all united, all of us all together with all our loved ones. I just want to mention also that Wednesday was my dear friend, Yonim and David HaKoyen, Ari's father, Johnny Schachter's Yortzeit, who was a Kohen, and as a Kohen, he loved to bless Yidden. He just loved to bless another Jew. And I told you many times he would come, you'd often go to the Chai Center because they didn't have a Kohen, but there was often an MTC over the years. And he would tell me, Rabbi, I knew I especially have you in my heart when I say Birchas Kohenim, and that's something that is very, very precious to me. And surely he's blessing us, and especially his family and children, from his place on high. And all the blessings should be manifested, that we can see them and touch them, all of us united as one. A good Shabbos, everybody.
Amen.
And see you all.
Good Shabbos.
All the very best. Be blessed with your whole family, Rabbi.
Amen, all of us.